In our modern world, the dawn often arrives not with peace, but with a silent alarm, pulling us instantly into the digital realm. Before our feet even touch the ground, our minds are already racing, scrolling through news feeds, checking emails. Beyond the digital pull, another common morning habit is the relentless planning and strategizing. From the moment we open our eyes, we are already mapping out the day, the week, the future, scheduling every minute, anticipating every challenge. From a Buddhist perspective, these morning habits are deeply rooted in what we call tanha, craving or grasping. We crave information, productivity, and control, believing they will bring us happiness or security. But the Buddha taught that craving is the source. Our morning routines are often a desperate attempt to impose control on a world that is inherently uncontrollable. We try to dictate every moment, every outcome, fearing the unknown and the unexpected. This belief in absolute control clashes directly with when we fill our mornings with external noise, news, social media, endless tasks. We amplify the monkey mind within us, that restless, chattering stream of thoughts. This external clamor prevents us from truly hearing our inner voice. The mindful alternative begins not with action, but with stillness. Imagine waking, and instead of reaching for your phone, you simply reach for your breath. Before your feet touch the ground, you allow yourself a few moments to simply be. Once anchored in your breath, extend this mindfulness to simple, everyday actions. A mindful walk, feeling the earth beneath your bare feet. Each step a conscious connection to the ground. A mindful cup of tea or coffee. Perhaps the most challenging, yet liberating, aspect of a mindful morning is letting go of the rigid schedule, the demanding to-do list that often dictates our entire day. This doesn't mean abandoning responsibility. These mindful mornings, far from being a luxury, are an essential practice for cultivating a deeper sense of inner peace and resilience that carries throughout your entire day. By consciously choosing stillness, presence, I invite you, gently, to experiment. Tomorrow morning, before you dive into the day's demands, allow yourself a few moments of conscious stillness. Begin with your breath. Feel your body. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Good morning. Or perhaps is it, for many of us, the first moments of the day are a hurried scramble, a race against the clock. We wake up, and before our eyes have fully adjusted to the light, then comes the second, almost automatic, habit, reaching for our devices. Before we've even connected with our own inner landscape, we plug into the vast, often chaotic, external world. Emails, news feeds, social media, a deluge of information, opinions, and finally, the burden of relentless planning. We meticulously map out our day, hour by hour, task by task, often before we've even had a chance to truly wake up. While structure can be helpful, from a Buddhist perspective, these habits, the rush, the digital dive, the endless planning, are not merely external routines. They are reflections of an already agitated mind. They don't just create stress. The mind, when allowed to settle, reveals its true nature: vast, clear, and unburdened. But when we constantly feed it with external stimuli and future-oriented concerns, we obscure this inherent clarity. The Buddha often spoke of the monkey mind, constantly. To truly see, we must first learn to be still. Imagine the vastness of the morning sky, clear and boundless. Our mind, when uncluttered, is just like that sky. The clouds of thoughts, worries, and plans are temporary phenomena. Now, let us explore the art of buông, or letting go. To release the grip of the hurried morning, we don't need to drastically change our schedule, but rather our internal relationship to time. Instead of rushing, try cultivating slowness. Next, the practice of letting go of digital attachment. This doesn't mean abandoning technology entirely, but consciously creating a digital-free zone in your morning. For the first hour, or even just the first 30 minutes, with the rush quieted and digital distractions set aside, you create a fertile ground for a truly mindful morning. This is where you cultivate a deep sense of peace and abiding. Begin with conscious breathing. Sit comfortably. The true gift of a mindful morning is not just a happier start to your day, but a fundamental shift in how you experience life itself. By choosing presence over rush, connection over distraction, and intention over compulsion, many of us wake up with the best intentions, eager to seize the day. Yet, our modern morning routines often begin not with peace, but with a subtle form of stress. The immediate reach for the phone. This hurried entry into the day often stems from a deep-seated belief that we must constantly do to be worthy or productive. We mistake busyness for purpose and external validation for inner peace. The morning scroll, for instance, from a Buddhist perspective, this unhappiness stems from a lack of present moment awareness, often fueled by attachment and aversion. When we immediately reach for our devices, we are attaching to external stimuli. The mind, when untrained, is like that restless river, constantly agitated by thoughts, plans, and external stimuli. It jumps from one bank to another, rarely finding a moment of true rest. This constant mental busyness. To truly see this, we must cultivate metta, or loving kindness, towards ourselves. We are not to blame ourselves for these habits, but rather to understand their roots in discomfort or unconscious craving. The mind, like a child, so how do we begin to shift this pattern? The mindful alternative is not about adding more to your routine, but about subtracting. It begins with the simple act of not immediately engaging with external stimuli. This simple practice of mindful breathing creates a sacred pause, a buffer between sleep and the demands of the day. It allows you to choose your response rather than automatically reacting. When you greet the morning with your breath, beyond just mindful breathing, consider the practice of conscious non-doing for the first part of your morning. This means refraining from any goal-oriented activity for a set period. No emails, no news, no planning. Just simply being. The transformation that arises from this mindful morning approach is profound. You begin to experience a deeper sense of inner peace, a quiet confidence that doesn't depend on external circumstances. Your mind becomes clearer, your focus sharper. To integrate this into your life, start small. Choose just 5 minutes each morning to simply be. No phone, no plans, just breathe. As you grow more comfortable, you might extend it to 10 or 15 minutes. Remember, we often wake with the best intentions, perhaps hoping to seize the day, to be productive, to feel a sense of control. Yet, for many, the very first moments of the morning can already feel like a race, and what is often the very first thing we reach for? Our phone. Before our feet even touch the ground, our minds are already plunging into the vast ocean of notifications. Headlines, social media feeds, and emails. We scroll, beyond the digital distractions, many of us fall into the trap of rushing. We rush to get out of bed, to get dressed, to prepare breakfast, to commute. Every action is geared towards the next. Then there's the relentless need to plan, to over-organize every minute of our day. While planning has its place, an excessive attachment to a perfectly mapped-out schedule can become another source of suffering. We often plan not just for efficiency. When we combine these habits, the immediate digital immersion, the frantic rushing, and the rigid over-planning, we create a morning routine that, from a Buddhist perspective, is a recipe for suffering, or dukkha. Our minds become agitated, fragmented. So, how can we shift this pattern? The first step is simply to pause. Instead of immediately reacting to the alarm or reaching for your phone, allow yourself a few moments of complete stillness. Before your feet touch the ground, once you rise, bring that same gentle awareness to your first movements. Instead of rushing through your morning tasks, try to perform each action with full presence. When you put your feet on the floor, feel the sensation. Before you fully engage with the day's demands, consider cultivating a moment of stillness. This could be a short sitting meditation, a few minutes of quiet contemplation, or simply gazing out a window with a soft focus. The ripple effect of a mindful morning is profound. When you begin your day with pause, presence, and stillness, you carry that inner calm into every moment that follows. You'll find yourself less reactive to unexpected challenges. This journey of transforming your morning is not about perfection. It's about intention and compassion for yourself. There will be days when you fall back into old habits, and that's perfectly natural. The practice is simply to notice. Without judgment, we often wake to a world that demands our immediate attention, pulling us into a whirlwind of tasks, notifications, and plans. The very first moments of our day, meant for peace and reflection, become a frantic race against time. This frantic start to the day is a profound detachment from our inner self. Instead of grounding ourselves in the present moment, we immediately project ourselves into the future, planning, worrying, anticipating, or we dwell in the past. From a Buddhist perspective, this unhappiness stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of our mind's nature. We mistakenly believe that happiness lies in controlling external circumstances, in achieving, in acquiring. But the mind, when left unchecked, is like a wild monkey. We believe that, by meticulously planning and organizing our mornings, we gain control over our day. Yet, how often do these plans truly unfold exactly as we envision? Life, in its beautiful unpredictability, constantly presents us with new circumstances. Why do we rush? Often, it's fueled by a subtle fear, the fear of not being enough, of not achieving enough, of missing out. This deeply ingrained fear propels us through our mornings. The mindful alternative begins not with adding more to your routine, but by letting go. Letting go of the need to immediately check your phone. Letting go of the pressure to plan your entire day before it even begins. After finding stillness, shift your attention to your breath. Without trying to change it, simply observe the natural rhythm of your inhalation and exhalation. Feel the rise and fall of your abdomen, the cool air entering your nostrils. Once grounded by stillness and breath, gently set an intention for your day. This is not a rigid plan or an expectation of how things should be, but a soft, compassionate aspiration. Perhaps it's an intention to be present when you begin your day with stillness, breath, and a gentle intention. You are not just changing your morning routine. You are transforming your relationship with life itself. You are cultivating a mind that is less reactive, more responsive. So as you prepare for your next morning, consider a new beginning. Not a morning filled with more tasks, but with more presence. Not a morning dictated by external demands, but guided by inner wisdom. We often begin our days with a silent aspiration for peace, for clarity, for a sense of purpose. Yet, how many of us truly find it in those precious first moments? Before the sun fully rises, and for many, that plunge is immediate and often overwhelming. Before our feet even touch the ground, our minds are already racing. We're thinking about the to-do list, the emails piling up, the meetings, the deadlines. Then comes the almost instinctive reach for our devices. The phone, the tablet,
The laptop, these glowing portals.
become our immediate connection to the outside world, often before we've even connected with ourselves. We scroll through news feeds. Beyond the scrolling, there's the immediate urge to plan, to organize, to micromanage the day before it's even unfolded. We draft mental schedules, anticipate problems, and mentally rehearse conversations. While preparation has its place, this compulsive pre-planning, from a Buddhist perspective, these common morning habits, the rushing, the scrolling, the compulsive planning, are all rooted in a fundamental misunderstanding of reality. They are driven by craving tanha, for external stimulation, aversion to discomfort, or boredom. Imagine, for a moment, the mind as a vast, clear sky. Naturally, it is open, spacious, and brilliant. But our morning habits often fill it with clouds of worry, storms of distraction, and winds of reactivity. The power of a conscious beginning lies in its capacity to set a tone. Not just for the first hour, but for the entire day. When we choose to begin with presence, even for just a few moments. So, how can we gently shift these ingrained patterns? The first step is simple. Before you reach for your phone or rush into your day, simply pause. Take 3 conscious breaths. Feel the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs. Once you've anchored yourself with breath and body awareness, extend that mindfulness to your first conscious actions. If you drink tea or coffee, do so with full presence. Feel the warmth of the cup in your hands, notice the aroma. This mindful alternative isn't about perfection. It's about intention. It's about choosing to bring a little more awareness, a little more kindness, and a little more presence to the beginning of your day. Experiment with these practices. After recognizing the rush, the next step is simply to pause, to allow the morning to unfold, rather than forcing it into a preconceived plan. This pause isn't about doing nothing, but about cultivating a presence with what is, without judgment or urgency. Just being. Begin with your breath. Feel each inhale, each exhale, as a gentle anchor to the present moment. This is your first act of mindful creation. Then expand your awareness to the sounds around you. The distant birdsong, the gentle rustle of leaves, or the soft hum of your home. Hear them without judgment. Feel your body. The sensation of your feet on the floor, the warmth of your blanket, the gentle stretch of your muscles. Connect with your physical presence. This isn't about achieving a perfect state, but about cultivating a gentle, inner peace. A calm center that can withstand the day's coming demands. Even simple tasks, like making your morning tea or coffee, can become opportunities for mindfulness. Feel the warmth of the mug, smell the aroma, taste each sip. Shift your focus from what you need to achieve this morning to simply being present with each moment as it naturally unfolds. This is true freedom. A mindful morning isn't just a routine, it's a foundation for a day lived with greater clarity, compassion, and true inner peace, regardless of external circumstances. So, choose to greet your next morning with gentle awareness. Let go of the rush, embrace the pause, and discover the profound peace that lies within each mindful moment. Begin today. We often begin our days with a rush, a silent agreement that productivity equals worth. The first light often brings with it the urge to check our phones, to scroll through endless feeds. We convince ourselves that we need to seize the day, to be productive from the very first moment. But what if seizing the day actually means grasping, holding on tightly, and creating a fundamental tension within ourselves? From a Buddhist perspective, our unhappiness in these moments stems from *tanha*, or craving. We crave stimulation, validation, and control. When we immediately reach for our phones, we're craving information, distraction, or a sense of being connected. This constant engagement also feeds our sense of self, our ego. We identify with our roles, our achievements, our digital personas. When we plan meticulously, we are asserting control, trying to mold the future to our desires. Moreover, this constant outward focus prevents us from cultivating *sati*, or mindfulness. Mindfulness is simply paying attention to the present moment without judgment. When we immediately engage with external stimuli, we lose the opportunity to connect with our breath. So, how do we begin to shift this pattern? The first step is
to cultivate astrahansis.
not in the sense of giving up everything, but in releasing our tight grip on these habitual cravings. Instead of reaching for your phone, once that space is created, fill it with *meta*, or loving kindness. Begin your day by extending compassion to yourself. Acknowledge the weariness, the anxieties, the habitual tendencies, without judgment. Then extend that loving kindness outwards to your loved ones. Finally, bring your full attention to your breath. For those first few minutes of the day, before any external demands, simply sit and breathe. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your abdomen, the cool air entering your nostrils. When you cultivate a morning routine rooted in non-reaction, compassion, and mindfulness, you are not just changing your habits. You are transforming your relationship with life itself. You are stepping into the day from a place of inner strength and so, as you step into tomorrow, consider this invitation for just the first few minutes. Choose stillness over stimulation, compassion over craving, and breath over busyness. Let your morning be a gentle unfolding, not a frantic grasping. We begin each day with a silent promise to make the most of it. Yet, for many, the morning routine has become a subtle source of unhappiness. The moment our eyes open, a silent race begins. The alarm blares. The first act for many is to reach for a phone, plunging into a digital stream of news, emails, and social media. This immediate immersion into the outer world, before we've even connected with our inner world. Then comes the rush. A frantic dance against the clock, fueled by the belief that if we move faster, we can conquer time itself. We gulp down breakfast, spill coffee, cut corners, and leave the house feeling breathless and already. Before we've even fully experienced the present moment, we're already projecting into the future, meticulously planning every hour, every task, every potential outcome. This intense focus on what needs to be done creates a mental prison. From a Buddhist perspective, our morning unhappiness stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of reality, the nature of impermanence and our attachment to control. We cling to the idea that if we just scroll enough, rush enough, plan enough, so how can we reclaim our mornings? It begins not with doing more, but with doing less, with conscious intention. Instead of reaching for your phone, reach for stillness. Before you even open your eyes, once you're up, before the day's demands take hold, take a few minutes to connect deeply with your body and breath. Stand or sit quietly. Feel the earth beneath your feet, the air on your skin. Extend this awareness to your morning tasks. As you make your tea or coffee, feel the warmth of the cup, smell the aroma, hear the gentle sounds. As you dress, feel the fabric against your skin, notice the colors. When you choose to engage with your morning in this way, a profound transformation begins. The frantic race against time softens into a gentle dance with the present moment. The mental clutter dissipates, replaced by a quiet clarity. The invitation is simple to begin anew, each morning. You don't need a grand spiritual retreat. You only need a few conscious moments. Try it tomorrow. Before reaching for your phone, before rushing into your day, simply pause. Breathe. Feel. Many of us begin our day in a rush, reaching for our phones before our feet even touch the ground. This immediate connection to the outside world, to news and demands, often sets a tone of urgency and anxiety for. After checking our devices, our minds often jump to planning. The endless to-do lists, mental rehearsals of the day's challenges, or replaying past events. We become trapped in a future that hasn't arrived, or a past that is gone. These seemingly harmless habits create a deep sense of disconnection. We miss the simple reality of now, the gentle breeze, the warmth of the sun, the sound of birds. We begin our day fragmented. From a Buddhist perspective, this constant grasping for control and aversion to what is, even in our morning, is the root of our stress. We cling to expectations, push away discomfort, and rarely allow ourselves to simply be with what our mind, by its very nature, wants to label, categorize, and control. But when we allow it to run wild first thing in the morning, we reinforce a cycle of reactivity, instead of cultivating a space of mindful response, and we often believe that by constantly planning and rushing, we gain control over our lives. Yet, paradoxically, we lose control over our inner state. We become slaves to external demands and internal chatter. Imagine starting your day by simply breathing. Before you touch your phone, before you plan, before you even fully open your eyes, just feel the breath. It's a gentle invitation back to your body, back to the present moment. Instead of reacting to the day, we can choose to respond mindfully. Take a few deep breaths. Listen to the sounds around you. Feel the texture of your clothes, the warmth of your tea. Cultivate presence in these small. This mindful approach isn't about achieving a perfect morning, but about shifting your relationship with it. When you begin with stillness, your day unfolds with a different quality. You move from a place of being driven to a place of. Carry this peace, this awareness, into every moment of your day. Your morning routine is not just a preparation for what's ahead, but a sacred opportunity to practice mindfulness, to truly live each breath. Remember, many of us wake up each morning, not to the gentle whispers of the new day, but to the insistent clamor of a digital device. Before our feet even touch the ground, our minds are already racing, scrolling through. Then comes the rush. We leap out of bed, driven by a packed schedule, a mental checklist already forming. We believe that by planning every minute, by controlling every outcome, we can conquer the day. Yet, and then, the quiet dread of comparison. As we scroll, as we consume, we inadvertently measure our lives against the curated highlights of others. Their perfect mornings, their achievements, their happiness become yardsticks against which we find ourselves lacking. From a Buddhist perspective, the core of this morning unhappiness lies in our attachment to outcomes, to perceived perfection, to a self-image built on external validation. We cling to the idea of a good morning, a productive day. Our modern morning routines also often reflect a deep craving for certainty, a need to know and control every step of the day. This craving, or tanha as it's known in Buddhism, fuels our anxiety. Perhaps the greatest unhappiness stems from simply missing the present moment. Our frantic morning routines pull us into the past of regrets or the future of anxieties, making us oblivious to the here and now, the warmth of our bed. So, how do we begin to shift this? The mindful alternative starts not with doing more, but with doing less, with simply being. Instead of reaching for your phone, reach for your breath. Sit for a few moments. Once grounded, we can cultivate gratitude. Instead of immediately listing what needs to be done, take a moment to acknowledge what is already good: the roof over your head, the warmth of your coffee, the simple act of being alive. Ultimately, a mindful morning teaches us to embrace impermanence. Just as the morning light gives way to noon, and the day unfolds with its myriad changes, so too does life constantly shift. When we stop clinging to a fixed idea, a mindful morning is not about achieving a perfect state or following a rigid set of rules. It is about cultivating an inner space of peace and awareness, a gentle beginning that allows you to meet whatever the day brings. We wake up, and almost immediately, the world rushes in. Before our feet even touch the floor, our minds are already racing, checking phones, planning the day, replaying yesterday's worries. We've been taught that this frantic pace is productivity. Think about the common culprits. The immediate grab for your smartphone, plunging into an endless feed of news, social media, or emails. This isn't a gentle awakening, it's a shock to the system. From a Buddhist perspective, these habits are rooted in tanha or craving. The craving for stimulation, for information, for validation, for control. When we scroll, we're feeding a constant hunger for more news, more likes, more distractions. The constant rushing, the feeling of not having enough time, is a manifestation of dukkha suffering in the form of dissatisfaction and restlessness. We are constantly trying to outrun the present, to get to the next thing, believing that. And then there's the over-planning, the rigid adherence to schedules, the need to control every outcome. While intention is important, when planning becomes an anxious obsession, it stems from a fear of the unknown, an attachment to a specific future. So, how do we begin to shift this pattern? The first step is simple, yet profound: begin with stillness. Instead of immediately engaging with the external world, create a sacred space, even if it's just 5 minutes, for internal connection. Once you've cultivated a sense of stillness, the next step is to set a gentle intention for your day. This is different from a rigid to-do list or an ambitious goal. A gentle intention is about how you want to. When you eventually engage with the world, whether it's preparing breakfast, getting dressed, or even checking your email, do so with conscious awareness. Notice the sensations, the warmth of your coffee cup, the feel of your clothes. The transformation that arises from a mindful morning routine isn't
Magic, it's subtle.
yet profound. You'll find yourself less reactive, more patient, and more resilient in the face of life's inevitable challenges. The inner calm you cultivate in those first. So, I invite you to experiment. Tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, just pause, take 3 conscious breaths, feel your body, listen to the silence, and then, gently, without judgment, observe what arises. We often wake to a quiet morning, only to immediately invite the entire world into our space. The moment our eyes open, our hands instinctively reach for our phones, pulling us into a stream of notifications, news, and endless feeds. After the digital immersion, we rush. We rush through breakfast, through getting ready, through our commute. Our bodies move, but our minds are already several steps ahead, planning, worrying, anticipating the next task. Before the day truly begins, we often fall into the trap of over-planning. We meticulously schedule every minute, anticipating every challenge, trying to control every outcome. This intense mental activity, though seemingly responsible, often breeds anxiety. These morning habits, whether scrolling, rushing, or planning, stem from a fundamental misunderstanding, the illusion of control. We believe that by meticulously managing every detail, we can dictate how life unfolds. Yet, the very nature of existence is impermanence. These morning patterns also reveal the mind's deep-seated craving. We crave stimulation from our screens, validation from our achievements, and certainty from our plans. This craving is a restless energy, constantly seeking satisfaction outside of the present moment. The cumulative effect of these morning habits is a pervasive sense of dis-ease. We start our day already feeling behind, already stressed, already disconnected from our inner wisdom. The constant scrolling fragments our attention. The rushing exhausts our bodies now. Let us consider a mindful alternative. Imagine beginning your day not with a jolt, but with a gentle return to yourself. Before anything else, simply sit or lie still for a few moments. Close your eyes. Once you've connected with your breath, bring that same gentle awareness to your first physical actions of the day. As you rise, feel the sensations in your body. As you walk, notice the contact of your feet with the ground. Instead of rigid planning, consider setting an intention for your day. This is not a list of tasks, but a quality of being you wish to embody. Perhaps patience, kindness, presence, or clarity. As the sun rises, by embracing this mindful morning routine, starting with breath, moving with awareness, and setting intentions with an open heart, you transform your day. You shift from a state of reaction and stress to one of presence and peace. Many of us wake with a silent urgency, a programmed need to get ahead of the day. The alarm sounds, and almost instinctively, we reach for our phones. Scrolling through emails, news feeds, or social media. This immediate plunge into the digital realm, this frantic race against time, isn't benign. It's a subtle form of violence against our own peace. Each notification, each headline, each perfectly curated image on a feed. This urge to plan every minute, to consume every news update, is rooted in a deeper craving, the craving for control. We believe that if we can just anticipate every outcome, if we can stay on top of every piece of this relentless pursuit of control, coupled with constant external stimulation, creates a deeply agitated mind. In Buddhist teachings, this is often referred to as the monkey mind, a mind that leaps restlessly from thought to thought, from worry to desire. The unfortunate truth is that how we begin our mornings often dictates the entire trajectory of our day. An agitated, externally driven start rarely leads to a calm, focused, and compassionate day. Instead, it sets a precedent for reactivity. The mindful alternative begins with an act of profound letting go. Letting go of the need to immediately do, to immediately know, to immediately control. Instead, we embrace stillness. Imagine waking and, before anything else, simply sitting. After cultivating stillness, we can then bring intentional awareness to our first actions. Instead of rushing through tasks, we engage with them fully, one at a time. Consider the simple act of brewing your morning tea or coffee. Beyond stillness and intentional action, we can infuse our mornings with the profound practices of gratitude and compassion. Before you even fully engage with the day's demands, take a moment to acknowledge the preciousness of this life, this breath. By embracing these mindful alternatives, you initiate a profound shift from reactivity to responsiveness. Instead of being swept away by the currents of external demands and internal agitation, you learn to navigate life's challenges from a place of inner stability. So, I invite you now to reconsider your morning. It is not merely a prelude to your day, but an opportunity to cultivate the very essence of your well-being. Begin with one small step. We often begin our days with a carefully constructed morning routine, believing it will lead to productivity, success, and ultimately, happiness. We wake up, perhaps immediately reaching for our phones, checking emails, scrolling through news or social media. Consider the common modern habits. The rush to plan every minute, to optimize, to conquer the day before it has even properly begun. We checklist our tasks, visualize our successes, and perhaps even mentally rehearse our responses to potential challenges. So, what is the core of this unhappiness? This feeling of being constantly behind or incomplete. From a Buddhist perspective, it stems from our attachment to outcomes, our identification with our doing rather than our being. From a Buddhist perspective, the root of suffering is craving and attachment, not just to physical things, but to ideas, to outcomes, to the feeling of being in control. Our morning routines, when driven by this attachment, the antidote to this unconscious morning rush is mindfulness. Mindfulness is simply paying attention, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. Imagine starting your day not by reacting to external demands, but by gently observing your own internal landscape. Think of your mind like a clear lake. When we wake up and immediately throw in stones of notifications, plans, and worries, the lake becomes turbulent and muddy. We can't see the bottom, we can't see clearly. So, how do we begin to let go of these unhelpful morning habits and cultivate a more mindful start? It begins with intention and with small, gentle steps. The first step is to simply create a sacred pause upon waking. Letting go also means releasing the expectation of a perfect mindful morning. There will be days when you forget, days when you rush, days when the mind is particularly agitated. This is perfectly normal. When you consistently cultivate a mindful morning, even with its imperfections, you begin to experience a profound shift. You'll find a sense of inner calm that isn't easily disturbed by external events. Your mind will feel clearer, less cluttered. So, as we conclude, remember that your morning is not just a prelude to your day. It is the day itself, unfolding in its earliest moments. By choosing to begin with mindfulness, with a gentle pause and a conscious breath,